Hello, all you gym class heroes. Welcome over to the technique and modifications page. What we're going to be working on over here today is the back squat. Okay. I know you may be thinking, Mr. Roberts, I don't have a foam beam. I don't have a bench. That's okay. You don't need a bench. You don't need a beam. You can have a chair, kitchen chair, a stool. You don't need a big foam beam. You can have a foam roller that's cut in half. I know you probably don't have that either. You could have a towel. So you could take a bath towel and roll it up so that you have something soft to put underneath your feet. Okay? So why do I have these things out? I'm going to try to give you some quick tips and good understandings on what's important in the back squat. All right. The main thing we're going to be looking at in this back squat is our feet. I want to treat these things like I have 1, 2, 3 talons that I'm digging into the ground. So 1 would be my heel, 2 would be my big toe, and 3 would be my pinky toe knuckle. So my big toe and my pinky toe knuckle. Okay? So I want to get my feet shoulder width apart. Okay? I want to have each point of that tripod locked down in. And then the first thing I do before I do anything else in my squat is I want to externally rotate, or I want to twist my feet into the ground. So if you watch my kneecap, see how it twists out towards my pinky toe? What that does is that gives me a great arch, and it locks my knee in as I go to squat down to create a stable position. Okay? So first things first, tripod. Second thing, locking my knees in. So it's like I'm trying to take my feet and screw them into the ground and screw it out towards my pinky toe. All right, so that's our feet placement. Right? Feet, knees, hips. Now, what am I thinking about? I want to think about bracing. Okay? So I can take my thumb and my finger, and I can put my thumbs in my side and my finger on my belly, and I want to breathe in just like my belly's a giant balloon. Okay, so I want to inflate that balloon, and then I can breathe in and out of my chest while I keep that balloon inflated. Okay, if you're struggling feeling this, it's okay, keep practicing. Every time you go to start, reset yourself. Thumb in your side, right below where your ribs come down. Thumb in, finger to the belly button, and inflate. I want to inflate my thumb and my finger. Okay, before we start, what I want you to do is go ahead and bring your kitchen chair in. Okay? So I'm going to have this bench, and what I'm trying to learn how to do is hip hinge, right? Or hinge at my hips while keeping my core inflated and my back flat. So I don't want to arch my back out and reach. I want to reach with a hip hinge, right? So if you think about a door hinge, it has the pin that comes through the middle and it goes down and up. I want to think about that same hinge with my hips and my back. Hip hinge, right? So I don't want to buckle around that hinge. I want to keep a tight hinge. So I come up to the edge of my chair, heel, big toe, pinky toe, lock those feet into the ground, and then I hip hinge and I reach back. Okay? You may feel yourself sit down a little bit. That's okay. And you may even feel like you're going to fall back at first. That's okay. It's learning how to hip hinge and bring those hips back in the squat. Out. Set my core. Reach. Up. Reach. Up. All right. I'm through the first portion of it. All right, what do I want to think about next? If I really feel like that's tough, if I feel like sitting in that chair and getting out of that chair is tough, it's okay. I can stay with that for a week or two until I can build up my strength to be able to do a full range of motion squat. All right, what is this guy and why is it here? This is just a foam balance beam that we have laying around our house because our kids are obsessed with gymnastics. It's a long story. But you don't need one of these. You can roll up a towel and it's just the same. But what I have found is that if you put the middle of your foot on the beam, and we think about that same thing, right? Even if it was a towel, my knees apart, that what I find is that kids, especially, or those learning how to do a squat, tend to go right down into a perfect squat because you can't lean forward or you'll fall, and you can't lean backward or you'll fall. So it's kind of a safe way to be able to get them to get into that squat, right? So this would be step 2. So my knees go apart, down, all the way in the bottom. You may not be here. You may be here. That's okay. If I work all the way down into the bottom and then stand up. Okay? So I'm looking for my elbows to come inside those knees. Come inside those knees. Looking for those feet to stay parallel, facing forward and up. All right. We're going to move over to the wall for one more. This would be more of a stretch to help you feel the bottom, or what's called the hole of the squat. So let's go over to the wall. All right, so this next drill, I just have a wall. It doesn't matter what kind of wall. This is a cement wall just because it's in my gym. But this is a very simple way to help yourself get in and feel the bottom of the squat without falling backwards. Because one of the hardest things is when you first start to try to get into the bottom of the squat is you tend to tip backwards or your heels come off. So how do I train that position? Well, a lot of times I have to do some mobility, because if I sit in a chair a lot, which a lot of us do when we're at school, then I lose some of that end range mobility. So I like to have a little bit, maybe 3 to 6 inches of separation between me and the wall with my heels. And then now all I'm thinking of that tripod, knees apart, and you can even step back a little bit more now that I feel it. Maybe your feet can be a foot away from the wall, and then lean back to the wall. And then all I'm doing is sitting down into that squat. Okay, so I want to feel myself all the way down in the bottom. I can push into my elbows and then push back out. Breathe. I'm just trying to relax into this position. You may not be able to get all the way down, and that's okay. You have to have a place to start in order to get better. But what I would say is check, recheck. Come in, test, see how far you can get down, and then go through your workout. And then the next time, come in again and do some sitting stretches before you start. And that'll help to open those hips up the longer the time frame you spend in it. And in the beginning, if it's kind of uncomfortable, that's okay. I don't want it to be painful, but uncomfortable is okay. I just set my timer for maybe a minute. And then I know, oh, okay, I've been in this position long enough. And if I want to start to move some of the different positions while I'm down here, I can just move a little bit with each elbow, push it out. I can put my hands together and I can squeeze my knees, breathe in, breathe out, and I could just give a little bit of press out with my elbows. As I move forward, I can step my feet out even wider, okay? Good job. Let's move back over for a free squat with no modifications. All right, let's say I've made it all the way through all the modifications, the chair, the rolled towel. I've gone against the wall, and I'm starting to feel pretty good. I think I can keep my heels on the ground. What I'm going to think about now is let's go ahead and break this down into steps. Tripod. I'm going to it's called externally rotating my femur, or I'm going to turn my knee, screw my feet into the ground, brace with my core, and then hip hinge, like somebody's pushing my hips back, and I go down as far as I can while keeping my heel, big toe knuckle, pinky toe on the ground, and up, down, and up, down, and up. Great job. I'll see you next time over here in the technique and modifications portion of the page. Great job.